right, welcome to the Jeff Heggie Show. I'm excited to have this guest with me today. I've had the opportunity to listen to her speak 3 different times, and all 3 times I've been blown away. So just to tell you a little bit about her, she used to be a pastor living by humble means. Her husband was an Uber driver working to support the family. But all of this changed when she discovered how to make 6 and 7 figures a day using virtual events. She's called in the industry by major leaders the queen of stages. She's spoken on stage with Russell Brunson, Tony Robbins, Kevin Harrington, and Dan Kennedy. And when you listen to her teach, you'll immediately recognize that she is one of the most masterful communicators and teachers you have ever heard. And that's one thing I 100% agree with. She is someone on stage that catches your attention and you pay attention and you're involved, and it's so much fun. So I'm excited to welcome Eileen Wilder to our show. Thank you, Eileen, for joining us.
Thanks, Jeff. Oh my gosh, I'm so pumped. And thanks for listening, everybody. I'm excited to dive deep into helping you, serving you, crush it as a speaker, crush it with events. It's just a great time to be alive. It's so exciting. So thanks for having me.
You bet. I'm excited about this. It was almost probably a year ago to this day that I heard you for the first time. It was at Funnel Hacking Live last year.
Yeah.
And really, one of the things, your stage presence is so good.
Oh, thanks, Jeff.
You just stood out to me so much when you spoke there, and it was incredible. And then I've had another experience in June. I had the opportunity to listen to you, and then just last week again. So this is awesome. I really appreciate you being on the show, and tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Yeah. So I was on the struggle bubble for a really long time, but so happy in the struggle bubble because I was a pastor. So I was in ministry full time with my husband. We were associate pastors and we just loved it. But you know how there's just sometimes in your heart that you just feel like you're meant for more, or there's like something inside of you that like wants to have a bigger impact. And so we wanted that, but we just weren't making a lot of money as pastors. And it all changed one day, Jeff, when I went to an event and I heard about how you could kind of still have an impact, but also create wealth. And the way this event showed me how to do that was by going like full time as a public motivational speaker. And when I discovered that I could speak and have impact and income, I was like 39, Jeff. Like, I think when I first heard that, and I like literally had never heard that before. I always thought in order to have a lot of impact, this is literally what you had to be in nonprofit work. Like you had to not make a lot of money. If you did not make a lot of money, like then you would impact people's lives more. And then I discovered just like in the scripture, I'd gone to church my whole life, but I started really discovering how wealth was something that God wanted people to have so they could have more impact. And now I've had the opportunity to have no money, and now I have money. And I just want to tell everybody, it's like way better having money. You can it's like way, 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 way better. And you can have so much more impact. So I have felt like it's my calling to unleash other people, Jeff, like onto the stage and onto becoming full-time speakers, because there's so many people I talk to, Jeff, that are so talented and they're so amazing and their story's so good and their strategies are so mind-boggling. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we got to get you out there. Like we have got to get this information out there. And there's just no faster way than speaking one to many rather than one-on-one. Doing, the impact is just crazy. The level of thousands of people that lie on the other side of you deciding to say yes to being a public speaker. So that's a little bit about our journey.
Awesome. No, I'm excited to get into this because that is such a powerful thing that so many people could use as a tool, but they don't. And especially like you say, the one-to-one is you're trading time for money. When you can go to the one-to-many, it is so much more powerful.
100%. I did not know that either. Like I was like, I when I first got into entrepreneurship, I was just talking to every person one-on-one, talking about my mentorship. And then when I started seeing, I could just put all these people in one room. And then whoever it's for, and whoever it's not, it's great. But like Absolutely. You could do a whole month's worth of revenue in one event. like that kind of stuff. I was just like, why didn't somebody tell me about this earlier? You know?
So how long have you been doing this now?
I did my first event and I first started really speaking in 2019, late 2019. So it's 2022 now for those of you listening to this. So really I've just been going kind of like full time for a couple of years. But once I started unlocking the strategy, which I'll dive deeper into in the episode today, it was kind of like a rocket ship. Like it was literally like I figured out this strategy of how to become like really highly paid as a speaker. And so like Jeff, in 2019, we were in a small 2-bedroom apartment, and still in 2019, my husband Harrison was Uber driving. So like how many years ago? Is that like 2 or 3 years ago? Like 3 years ago, my husband was Uber driving. Like, so it's still very recent, but this strategy makes it go quick. So that's what I love talking about, because people, they spend 20 years trying to figure stuff out, and it's just not as hard as, like, they're making it hard. It can be harder. The people are making it harder, and it doesn't need to be that hard.
Well, and this was quick during a time when everything was shut down and public speaking wasn't a weekly event.
Good point, Jeff. Good point. That's right. So COVID happened and we were doing events, and we were like, what are we going to do now? Like, we were literally like, a lot of us who were out public speaking, doing seminars and stuff. But then, Jeff, it was so cool because something like Zoom went from like 3 billion users to like something like, or it's like 3 million. I don't know what numbers, but it was like 3 billion. Let's say it's 3 billion to like 20 billion users during COVID. And so it's like the whole world got conditioned that it was okay to be on Zoom. Right. So we just started doing our events virtually. Just like I'm on with you right now. Like, we're on Zoom. For those of you listening to audio, we're like just jamming back and forth on Zoom. And we just started having virtual events, and they started like working. We were so happy.
And this is so cool, because I know there's so many people. It's just like writing a book. Everyone wants to write a book, but do they do it? Do they know how to do it? So many people want to be speakers, and the way you're talking about it, and I'm excited to get into your process, because it reminds me of something that I heard Myron Golden say. He said, stop looking at all the hard ways to make a little bit of money, and start looking at the easy ways to make a lot of money. So talk about your process.
Yeah. So the process for it's the process is what happened to me. So the only way I can talk about it is like, this is how it worked for me. So I don't preach about and talk about how there's a lot of ways to get booked on stages, but I'll just tell you, I think this way is the easy way. So here's the easy way. The easy way to become like a highly paid, like crushing it, making it rain like a hurricane, is number one, just like get really good at just one signature message, like one story, kind of like your story. Many people don't realize, Jeff, like they think their story is not that powerful. But when I start asking some questions and extracting it from them, it's literally insane. Like the knowledge, if you're listening to this podcast or watching by video, like the knowledge that you possess, you're unaware of how potent it could be in the life of somebody else. Like, you just literally don't know. Like, I heard someone say that, like, we don't know, we don't think our superpower is that super.
Right.
You just, because it's so intuitive. Like, the stuff you teach, Jeff, is just like, it just like pours right out of you. And you're like, I could literally blow up your business and renovate your whole life so it's 10 times better, like in a couple hours, you know? And it's like, other people don't, you have to, here's what you need. Everyone listening, listen up. Everybody doesn't know what you know. They don't know it.
Oh, right.
You think they know it, but they 100% don't have a clue. And you only find that out, Jeff, when you make your signature message and you see it in the eyes of the audience. They reflect back to you like a mirror. And that is when you see, holy cow, I have something powerful that people really need. So the first step, Jeff, is like, yeah, do you have to tag in there?
No, I was just going to ask you that. What was it like the first time you were on stage
Mm,
and you felt that, and then you're
yeah.
like, I just hit them.
Yeah. And you're such a shock because you're like, don't you know this? Or isn't this so intuitive to you? Or doesn't this also occur naturally in your brain like it does in my brain? And they're like, no, I literally have never thought about anything that you just said before in my entire life. And you're like, and so the first time, like, Jeff, this is what happens. Everyone, before you get up and do your first speech, just like it happened with me, there were 13 people in the room. I thought to myself, they already know this. This isn't really that great. Like, this really legitimately is going to be boring to them. Like, I'm like, this is going to be boring because they already know. Like, I don't think the story, the strategy, what I'm going to share is going to be helpful. And that is the great lie for speakers. That is the lie right there. And the enemy uses this lie to keep people silent. 100%. Keeps it to keep us quiet, hidden, stay quiet in the back. No, but when you step forward and speak the message that God has put in your heart to share to the people he's called you to reach, not somebody else, not Susie, not Joe, not Brian, not them, the people that he's called you to reach, they will literally line up in front of you after you're done and say, that was for me. That was for me. Some of them, Jeff, like tears down. I'm sure this has happened to you, like tears streaming down their face. Like that spoke to me at such a gut level. And this is why Jesus said, my sheep hear my voice. It's like the people that are assigned to you need your message, but you need to lift up your voice so they can hear you and come.
Right.
Yeah. That was the first time. That's what happened to me. Utter shock.
That's awesome. That's really awesome. So what is it? What do you find is holding people back?
Yeah. Well, after they get their signature message, Jeff, there's a few quick other steps. Like then we help people make like a product. I forgot. I got so excited about the Bible. So let me just back up for a second. So you make your signature message. Then we help people make, like, my first product, Jeff, was $27, but I eventually made it like a little bit more expensive later. But that one thing that you sell, like a mentorship or a course or something like that, if you just make a little simple invitation after you speak, so many people will be served so highly and so well if they could just work a little bit further and a little bit deeper with you and just have a little bit more time. So we make an irresistible product like that. And then once we have that, then we show, like, then it's just kind of getting booked on stages, which is so easy now with podcasts and YouTube shows. And then, so that's when like all the income starts happening. You start making sales like crazy town. I can go deeper into that. And then if you want to go to the next level, it's so cool. You can make your own stage, and even have your own little mini event. It's like your jam. It's like Jeff Heggie, like it's like his universe, his little movement, like his big movement. You know what I mean? It can be as big, as little as you want. By creating your own stage, that's when it starts to transform people's lives. Because there's this saying, Jeff, and I'll end right here, is that immersion causes conversion. So when they have an immersive event with you, it's like their mind can shift, their heart can shift, their beliefs break off. They see the impossible. They dream a new dream. And so they fully get converted to who they really were born to be at your own event. So that's the system. But yeah, there are a couple things that can hold people back.
So I guess I want to go into the actual event itself, because I've seen it before where a speaker just is not connecting. They've got an incredible message, but they're not connecting. You've got a power to connect an entire room. So what is it? How do people connect with the room?
So good. Such a great question, right? Because even great speakers, famous speakers, you can still see the audience tune out. Have you ever noticed this? Like when a speaker starts speaking, it's kind of like a glaze that goes over everyone's eyes, or maybe they start looking down. This is what I noticed, Jeff. Like, or this is the curse of death is when the audience pulls out their phone. When when the audience pulls out their phone and all the heads are down, like you've lost them. Like that, you're like, you might as well just walk off the stage. Like that's like it right there. So what I've noticed, and for the best kind of tip I found, what we teach people is like, get the audience engaged right away. Get the audience engaged. So you might ask, okay, well, how do I do that? I'll show you in a second. But if you think about like Newton's law of momentum, like an object at rest will remain at rest unless acted on by an outside force. But an object in motion will remain in motion unless acted on by an outside force. So if you get that ball of energy and engagement rolling with the crowd, oh my gosh, it feels so good for you and for them and now they're in momentum and they're using their energy. So you actually, as a speaker, have to work less. You're actually exerting less effort than most speakers. Why? Because the audience is unleashing their energy. And watch this. They think it's you. They think you're a great speaker, but you know what? It's their great energy that's making it awesome. So interesting, right? It's like they're giving energy, so they're receiving more energy. So it's actually, so then you're like, all right, well, that sounds great, Eileen, but like, how do I get the audience engaged? So what I love to do is I love to ask questions and give the audience what I want them to say back to me. I'll give you an example. Because you know how when you're at a concert, like I love you too, I like love them so much. Like I know all the words to their songs, and the audience loves that they know the words. So they're united. They're all like doing it together, right? So if you're like, how many of you, pretend I'm speaking, how many of you would like high ticket buyers lined up out the door, wrapped around the building, ready to pay you a fortune? If that's you, will you shout yes? And the whole audience, now I'm not leaving it an open-ended question. Like if I just ask the question, the audience would go like this. There'd be like two dudes in the back who'd be like, yeah. And then the front would be like, and then three girls on the side would be like, maybe, it'd be like all different. It wouldn't be unified, right? So you give them the answer of what to say back to you, and they all know the words. And then you can play with them a little bit. You can be like, I thought we were in the room with high-level entrepreneurs. How many of you have shout? Yes. So now they're having fun because it's like now their energy is up and out, but they think you are a highly energetic speaker, but it's not you. It's them.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's actually really powerful. And I noticed last week, both you and Joseph were really good at that.
Oh,
and
thanks.
Getting us involved and getting that energy up. So that's very powerful. So going back to before I kind of interrupted part of the conversation, what is holding people back from moving forward with this?
Yeah. So, I mean, oh man, one of the reasons that it took me 30 years, almost 40 years, I just didn't think my story was that powerful, Jeff. And I really feel like we as people don't recognize how powerful our message is. So I think one of the things, we can just not give ourselves permission to step forward and start to experiment, share this message that was in our heart a little bit, see people's response, reaction, see how it's going. So I feel like people don't know if their story's good, if what they have to say is valuable, if it's going to actually help anybody. And I think if you're listening or watching, and if you may feel like that, that is the story that's in all of our minds. That is like what is happening to everyone, almost everyone. There's few people who are like crazy narcissists and they're like, listen to me. But like that, the majority of people, like, so it's just understand it's going to feel like that until you do it. the first time until you see how much it helps people. And it's really, Jeff, it's crazy how selfish in many ways, because we're thinking so much about ourselves and we're not keeping the focus on the people we need to help. Okay. So that really holds people back. And I think, you give yourself permission to share your story and understand it is going to be life-changing. Even if it was only life-changing for one person, would it be worth it for you to share the thing that, like, the tips, the experiences, you got through some trauma, you got through some hard things, you overcame some obstacles, you have a successful family, you have a successful business, you have a successful strategies, what you're sitting on is literally unlocking the key to someone's destiny. So my encouragement is your story matters. It really does. So that holds us back, Jeff. I think sometimes also we're like, how do I build a business with all this stuff? Like, okay, great. I got my story. My story's awesome, Eileen. So I'm so good. But like, how do I, how in the movies, like, show me the money, like, where's the money, and I'll tell you exactly where the money is in just a second, but like, understand, like if you do what I'm going to share with you in a couple of minutes, like you'll unlock six figures, you'll unlock $1 million, like you'll become a millionaire through speaking. It's only a matter of time if you execute this strategy. So understand that it's like the highest paid skill on the planet. That's where all the money is, in the communicators. So I'll dive deeper into that second, but that's where I think. Do you see anything, Jeff, where other people are held back by, I don't know. What do you think people are held back by?
Well, I think it's exactly what you're saying is, oh, well, yeah, sure, I've got a story, but who wants to listen to it?
Yeah.
And even, it's not anything new to these people. If I know it, they have to know it. And so exactly what you've been saying. And I think also, and I know we're going to talk about how people can learn this, but it's like, how do I present? Those sort of
How do I present?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And our book dives a lot deeper into this, like how do I present? And there is a really good framework that we have that teaches like speaking for normal people. And we studied like all the best speakers, Jeff. Like we went and watched hours, hundreds of hours of tape, and we figured out this framework that they're all doing. And it is insane in the membrane when you hear the framework that they're all doing. It'll blow your mind. Like it literally is in the book. And I'm saying that like you really should find a way to get the book. I'll tell you, I'll figure out a way to get you the book in a second. But like this one framework is what Joel Osteen's doing. It's what Jim Rohn's doing. It's what Zig Ziglar. It's what Tony Robbins is doing. It's what Russell Brunson is doing. Like you name it, they're following this framework, and it's causing the audience to go in crazy town.
Now, just to interject for a moment, we're going to tell you more about it in a little bit, but Eileen's going to share some ways that you can learn more about this. But one that she's talking about right now is this book. And for those that are watching the video, $1 Million Speaker. So we'll talk more about that. But yeah, that's definitely it's one of the things you're going to need to get for sure.
Yeah, 100%. Like it will cause and if you're just like making video, if not even if you're on stage yet, but if you're just like videos and social media, if you'll follow this framework, you will notice, and we've statistically have stats on how higher your conversions, your watch rate, your likes, your views, your comments, your responses, if you follow the framework.
Yeah. And you know what, that's something I want to really point out here. Eileen has figured this out. She's cracked the code. And so as you're listening to these things, what I want you to understand is how important that is to not say, okay, she's figured it out, I'm going to figure it out my way. Because when people figure something out and you can just follow those instructions. I mean, my daughter's a great example. Just a month ago, she had 3,000 followers on Instagram. She was trying everything she could to grow.
Yeah.
I gave her some strategies that, not my own strategies, some that I had learned from someone else. She did them for a week.
Wow.
And I just looked this morning. She has a reel that did 22 million.
What?
And it's following the strategies that have been proven. And that's exactly what
I love
Eileen's
that.
telling us here, is she has the formula. And if this is the path you want to take, she's got the answers for you.
Cool story. That is awesome. Oh my gosh. Yes, I'm a bit now. I want that now. I'm like, yeah, let's interview Jeff's daughter. Yeah, when somebody's, I mean, isn't it great when and aren't you grateful when somebody comes back from the front lines and they're like, this is the thing that'll work. Here's
Yeah.
like the shortcut. I'm always so grateful. Like, oh
Yeah, like I don't have to go through that whole process and figure out everything that doesn't work. Like Eileen's already done that for me.
we have figured out all the ways for you not to be boring ever on stage. Yes, 100%. That's been our job for you listening. Yes. Yeah.
So someone that's listening right now, I can guarantee right now we've got people like, okay, this is me. I've got to do it. Now, we're going to share with them how they learn, what the next steps are. But your first audience was 13 people.
Yeah.
Where do they speak? Where do they go?
Yeah, where do they go right now? Like for people who want to crush it on stage right now. Yeah. The best strategy that we found, people don't realize, Jeff, that there are like influencers who've gathered audiences and they are starving for content. Like literally don't know where to find more people to book more speakers, to get more interviews. They have calendars to fill, audiences to feed, social media, blogs to release, articles to debut. Like you have no idea how hungry the internet is for content. Like you just literally aren't. Nobody's aware. And there are all these podcast hosts, YouTube hosts, people with Facebook groups that would, like, if you came with hey, I've got this thing and I think it'll really help with your crew, they would be like, yes, that would be amazing. Would you really do that? You'd be like, yes. And then if you've got a product or a course, they'll be like, hey, cool, I could make a quick invite at the end of the thing, give you 50%. Like, would that be helpful? And these people, it's incredible, Jeff, like how the skill, some people know how to build audiences, but they don't know how to monetize those audiences. Like they don't know, have a funnel or a pathway to make money. They often work off brand sponsorships, which are very low paying. So this is why speaking and making invitations from stage is the highest paid skill on the planet, because you can monetize literally anywhere on any show. So that's what we've done. That's like, so like if it's 13 people or 13 million people, my encouragement to you is leverage other people's audiences and value each life. Like, don't discredit a small show. Don't discredit a small Facebook group, and don't discredit a small podcast of any kind. Every life, like, is a life. So honor and show up, be your best in every podcast show, in every YouTube show, in every room. And that, I really believe, like, God really honors that and keeps opening up more and more doors. So that's the best way, to get booked on stages.
Awesome. You kind of you talked about it, but I want to kind of hit on it more, because I've had people on this show that at the end it's like, okay, where do people find you? What do you have to offer? And they'll give me their Instagram account. They don't. So if someone comes from my show and follows them on Instagram, great, but they don't know where that person came from. They don't know, like, how do you make sure that you're leaving here with an offer, that you're going to know that you're giving some value to the audience and they have something to connect with you?
Yes. Like having something to invite them to, Jeff, after you speak. Yes. So important. Even if it's low ticket, like, or, it's my first thing was $27, Jeff. I was like so scared to invite people to my $27 thing. But like, think about it. Like, an interview is just enough for somebody to get to know you, but we all should have products and offers and mentorships that we could work deeper with them because they're so hungry for somebody who can help their life. Yeah. So I really believe every speaker should have some type of product, something to offer them into, even if it's just like, hey, join me for this 4-week masterclass. It's going to be every Monday night. It's $97. Like people will be like, yes, So
Right.
yeah, just try something, offer something. You've got to, it's how we serve them.
Okay. So if I'm listening to this right now, I'm like, okay, this is the career path I want to take.
Yeah.
Do people look more, okay, getting on a stage and speaking, that's something I get paid for? Or is that something I have an opportunity to make my offer? Is that somewhere I create my authority? What does that look like for making a living off of speaking?
Okay. So yes, you can work with speaker bureaus and become a paid speaker, meaning like you have a speaker fee. When people contact me, my speaker fee is $25,000, right? So this is what if you want to bring me on stage, it's $25K. That's like my speaker fee, right? You can do it that way, but it's a long runway to success to get there. You got to build up a lot of street cred, have a deep resume. Like you got to demonstrate you've been here and here and here and here. You know what I'm talking about a little bit? Like to get the higher speaker fees, you need like social proof, right? A far easier way is making your own speaker universe. Okay, what do I mean by that? I mean by developing your own products and your own stage. Okay. So kind of like, here's the thinking is like, reject the system because the system's going to take too long. Build your own universe. What do I mean? I mean, start now with your signature message and start speaking on podcasts, right? And then offer your product. Watch me, I'm going to drop some gold. So you all better buckle up. To offer your product and offer a free ticket to a workshop. Okay, so it'll be with your product, right? Now, my first one, Jeff, let me see. I had 8 people buy a product and come to my workshop. That was my first event. Okay, so I had 8 people. So can imagine my shock and surprise. You know me, guys, because I remember I'm like, who thinks this is interesting? No one. I don't even think this is going to be good. 8 people bought my thing. They come. Now I'm like, okay, I got 8 people. So then I asked 4 of my friends to come to make the room look bigger so I could look cooler. Okay, so now I had like 12 people, but the 4 people were just my friends. Like I was like, you got to amen me. You got to say I'm doing a good job. Like look interested. I was totally bribing them. I was like, I'll take you out to dinner after. It'll be awesome. And these 8 people. But so now I'm building, watch this, my own speaker universe. And you can do this. And when you build your own speaker universe, now it's you're in control. You're not having to wait for somebody to invite you. You're like, I'm making my own stage, babe. Okay. Like this is us. Right. And then when you got your own stage, Jeff, that is when 6 and 7 figure days happen. So that first event, my husband's still Uber driving up until that day. I did $108,000 with 8 people and 4 friends in the room. $108,000. So 6-figure days. So speaker universe, faster path to cash. 100%.
Okay, so let's dig into this a little bit more. Just if we've got listeners that don't understand, like, okay, she made all that money. Did they pay fees to come? Explain how you did that.
Okay, so inside our stuff, once you get in your speaker universe world, now you can play around with not offering lower ticket things. You can play around with offering more expensive, premium priced mentorships or masterminds. So I was playing around with the idea of offering a year-long mentorship with me. Okay. And I didn't know if it was going to work, but I was like, I've always wanted to have something like this, and I'm just going to try it. Remember, you don't know. The offer you don't make, no one can take, right? So if you don't make the offer, nobody can take the offer. So it's like you got to just make the offer, see what happens. So I made the offer, and 6 people bought it. The mentorship. 6 people jumped in. I was shocked. Again, this is the same type of shock when you find out your story works. Like you'll literally be shocked, but you got to act cool, guys. You got to just act cool. Take the thing, act like you've been there. Just thank you, congratulations. Can't wait to see you in the mentorship on Monday. Just act cool. So that is how I did $108,000, and nobody was more surprised than me and my husband.
Did you have that year-long mentorship already planned out, or is it like, okay, now I've got to create this?
Now I've got to create this. Yeah. So that's how what I learned, Jeff. That's how the pros were teaching me. My coaches, just like you were saying, like somebody came back from the front lines. Russell Brunson was like, don't plan it, sell it, and then plan it, which caused me to have a semi-nervous breakdown, but it worked. So I was like, thank you, Russell. I am coachable. Coaches coach. Coach me, coach. You know, I was trying to. So I was like, it's going to start on Monday, and then I just hustled all week and hired other people to be in the program, and it was great. It literally was great. It was like one of the best years of my life. Like, and I still friends with those students till today. So, what's the moral of this story? The moral of this story is speaking is the highest paid skill on the planet, and there's no wrong way to start. There really isn't a wrong way to start. Like either you're making your own products or having your first event. Like if you do just any of that, like in my book, Jeff, you're winning. Because why? You're serving people. You're serving people at the highest level. And then once you start learning what I'll tell you guys in a second how you can dive deeper into the tactics, but like if you're serving people, there's no way, and you're good at what you do, and you're not boring. Okay, team, can't be boring. You will crush it and create wealth as a speaker. 100%. I believe that.
Awesome. You know, Eileen, if you're in for it, I'm here for the day. Let's do this all day long because I could speak with you all day.
I know,
talking about this.
All day seminar, go.
But I do want to respect your time and everything. So first of all, I want to start talking about some of the things you have, but let's talk about this first. Let's talk about
the book. Yeah. So this book is like step 1 on that process of becoming $1 million speaker. It's like learning how to not be boring and speak, sharing your story, sharing your signature message, right? So the book goes deep into this framework, and it's like a 5-step framework, and just like how to tell your story in a way that will literally shift and transform people. That's Joe and I, my business partner. That's our goal. So yeah, so the book, and we have an opportunity for those of you listening, like for you to get the book, get the framework, get all the steps, our exact blueprint of how to create wealth as a speaker this upcoming week. So we're actually doing a 5-day challenge, and I'll tell you, it's called $1 Million Speaker Challenge. And Jeff has a special link that he has for you. And in the challenge, Jeff, we take them step by step through this system. Crush it as a speaker, crush it with your signature message, make a product, get booked on stages, have your own event. So we do the whole thing, and we go, it's like one step at a time, one day at a time. But by the end of the week, Jeff, we've had people that just from attending the challenge have earned up to $600,000. One student just came into the challenge and just did it that week with us. That week he launched his event. I literally don't even know how he did it. Like he did it step by step by step. Send us a video. I just made $600,000 just from attending the challenge. So my encouragement to those of you listening is don't wait, because we don't even know when we're going to do this again, this particular challenge. So, and then when you come to the challenge, you're going to get a copy of the book so you can be equipped to crush it as a speaker. Yeah. Yeah.
So make sure wherever you're listening to this, look at the show notes. I'll put the link to the challenge at the very top so that you can access that. And it's when Russell talks about how Lady Boss started. He always talks about they learn something, okay, shut the book, do it. Learn something, shut the
I
book, do
love
it.
that when he shares that.
And for you guys that want to be speakers, that is what this challenge is going to do. And if you're an action taker, if you're someone that is willing to say, okay, day one, here's what Eileen and Joe
Yes.
told me to do, and do it, you are going to go so far.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited about this. I'm going to be at the challenge. So I'm looking forward to
Let's go, Jeff.
listening to you and learning. And so thank you, Eileen. Is there anything else you want to share? And besides the link for the challenge, where do people find you?
Yeah. So besides the link for the challenge, Instagram, Facebook, at Eileen Wild is my handle, at Eileen Wild. Love to connect with you. Love to hear how you're crushing it with speaking and stages. But the challenge is going to be so great, Jeff, because we're going to have time to answer people's personal questions, like about their story, their speaker business, how it could work for them. So I really encourage you, don't sleep on this team. This is like going to be once in a lifetime. Like the information that we drop in this challenge, Jeff, is literally worth millions of dollars. Like literally. I'm not just saying that. I'm saying that because we've made millions of dollars and our clients have made millions of dollars. We've helped our clients make so many millions of dollars. We've lost track, like actually at this point. It's banana pants when you walk through the wardrobe of Chronicles of Narnia and join us in the challenge. So I can't wait to see you guys there.
Well, you know what? One other thing I just want to add to that is, this is for someone that wants to make speaking a career.
Yeah.
But you know what? Even if that's not your career path,
right,
you need to understand this. If you are a CEO, if you're any sort of leader, these are the skills that you need to have to be persuasive and influential. And so, and just for the listeners that are thinking, oh yeah, that sounds good, but man, I got a busy week. Tell them a little bit more about the challenge, how long it is each day. Are there recordings, all of those things? Yeah,
100%. I think there are recordings that last for 24 hours. So if you can't join us live, you can watch it maybe later in the day. It's something like 11 Eastern, and it's a couple hours each day. And then the recording will be live. We have to make the recordings go away, otherwise people never watch them. So so my encouragement that we've actually had people like that have moved their weddings to attend this challenge. Like it's worth shifting if you can make it. And we promise to value your time. You're going to be blown away even by day one. So
awesome. And I just want to remove all the barriers that anyone might be thinking about. So make this happen. I promise you it's going to be worth your time and effort. And if you implement what you're taught, I promise you're going to see a lot of success.
Yeah.
Eileen, thank you so much for the opportunity to be here with you. I look forward to seeing you on the challenge next week. And I look forward to seeing you on stage again.
Me too, Jeff. We'll be up there together. High five, tag team. You take your keynote and let's go. Such an honor to be here. Thanks, Jeff, for having me.
Og Mandino said that the difference between those who have failed and those who have succeeded lies in the difference of their habits. Good habits are the keys to success. Many of the habits that'll bring you success in life are easy to do, but they're also easy not to do. I developed the Mindset Journal so that I could easily implement powerful success habits into my daily routine. The power of the Mindset Journal comes from knowing your top priorities and scheduling them into your day. The power of the reticular activating system and its relationship to your goals, your mindset questions, and your daily accountability. So if you want to implement some quick and effective success habits into your daily routine, go to jeffheggie.com/mindset journal and get yours today. Are you an entrepreneur who wants to discover the breakthrough secrets that will produce the results you've been searching for, but you just can't seem to figure out why you keep working harder and harder and you're just not getting those results? I want to tell you about a new challenge that I've created just for you, the Business Domination Challenge. If you want to create the entrepreneurial lifestyle and the business you dream of, then this is exactly what you're looking for. I created the Business Domination Challenge to show you how to grow your business exponentially and to become an optimal performing entrepreneur. What's an optimal performing entrepreneur? It's an entrepreneur who's succeeding in all areas of their life. If I show you how to build a successful business, but your relationships, your health, and everything else is falling apart, that's not a success. It's not about working harder, it's about implementing the correct principles and becoming the person who can do the things that produce the results. Hurry and go to jeffheggie.com/business domination and secure your spot today.